James Harden resigns himself to never winning anything other than giant bags of cash. Dorian Finney-Smith chooses free agency over returning to the Lakers, and a Rams reunion with Jalen Ramsey. It's not happening. Good morning. I'm James, and this is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. It is June 30th, 2025, and man, do we have a ton to discuss today. I'm in an airport. This is the quietest part of a very loud airport that I could find. So be it. If you like being in the know about LA sports, click the like button. Click the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. By all means, comment. Now, before we go through the news and notes, a quick look at the scoreboard. Dodgers 5, Kansas City 1. Dodger magic number slides to 72, and more importantly, the lead in the NL West extends to 7. In other words, for Slime Diego, for Scum Francisco, in order for them to catch the Dodgers, LA would have to lose 7 consecutive games, and one of their little brothers would have to win 7 consecutive. An entire week of LA losing and them winning? This division is now a boat race, and it's a beautiful day for a sail. Meanwhile, Vancouver edged LAFC 1-0, and Chicago defeated the Sparks 92-85. There are no games involving LA teams today, so what do you say we get to the news? And by the way, sorry for the background noise. Well, happy legal tampering day, everybody. If you tampered with somebody, I sure hope it was legal. For the NBA, legal tampering means today you're going to hear about players agreeing to terms with new teams. They just can't sign the papers until July 6th. Sunday turned out to be the deadline for players with an option in their contracts to decide if they wanted to stay with their team. For LA teams, it's mixed results. We talked yesterday about how LeBron James opted to stay with the Lakers. James Harden of the Clippers, meanwhile, went into the opposite direction. He opted out of his deal, and then he got rewarded for it. He signed a 2-year, $81.5 million pact to stay with the Clips. All of this was exceptionally predictable. Harden was in this really awkward but unique place. He's not that valuable to the rest of the NBA, but exceptionally valuable to the Clippers. The dude picked up an MVP. That is true. He was absolutely a weapon for mad chunks of his career. But that was during the first Trump presidency, guys. Pre-COVID. The dude's going to be 36 in August. Moreover, the guy wore out his welcome in Brooklyn, Houston, Philly, Oklahoma City. And then you might be sitting there going, well, why would the Clippers want to bring him back? It's because they had no choice. They let him go. Where do you go to replace the 22.8 points per game he scores? It sure as hell isn't going to be with recent draft picks. They let him go, and they're in a brand new state-of-the-art arena with a brittle Kawhi Leonard and who? That's why President Lawrence Frank said Harden was the top priority this summer. Without him, the Clippers would be a lottery team. And they wouldn't even have the benefit of tanking because all of their picks were previously traded away for Paul George. So, to look at the Clips is to look, in a sense, at Catholicism. If you've never understood the concept of purgatory, look at the Clippers. They're in purgatory. They're neither in hell or in heaven. As for what else the Clippers need, other than a pool party in the Fountain of Youth, team executives stress the need to add a third center. They have a $14 million mid-level exception to use on roster needs. They also need to keep Nicholas Batum in the mix. You might recall he said he wanted to opt out as well. Losing Batum is a hit to the Clipper bench because now, if he's gone, you're looking at Bogdan Bogdanovic, Derek Jones, and who? You tell me. Meanwhile, this morning, The Athletic reported that the Lakers expect to lose 3-and-D ace Dorian Finney-Smith as a free agent. Finney-Smith startled the Lakers on Sunday because he opted out of his $15.4 million contract. It was a surprise because, one, The dude had already played with Luka Doncic and Lakers coach J.J. Redick when all three of them were in Dallas. Turned out that relationships just totally meant squat. 2, the dude is coming off ankle surgery. So how healthy is he? He is in his 30s as well. Multiple outlets say Houston wants Finney-Smith, but if he goes there, he's likely going to take a pay cut because the Rockets could only offer $14 million. Finney-Smith previously said he didn't want a cut. But if Finney-Smith actually does leave the Lakers, it puts him in an unusual spot, but it could be beneficial. Here's the oddity. Having Finney-Smith off the books puts them very much under the so-called first apron of the salary cap. The converse argument is the Lakers gave up 3 second-round draft picks in order to acquire a guy for what, half a year? So here's where it benefits. We mentioned it puts the Lakers under the first apron. Finney-Smith's departure would put the Lakers in a position to also access a $14 million mid-level exception. And The Athletic reported that the Lakers are targeting Milwaukee center Brook Lopez, who previously played with the Lakers, and Atlanta's Clint Capella. There's also a dark horse option for a center. And if you thought the Lakers scraped the bottom of the barrel for centers last year after they got rid of Anthony Davis, no. You keep scraping, you find another layer of mold. Career slugger DeAndre Ayton was bought out by Portland last night. DeAndre Ayton, the guy who played in only 40 games last year, 55 games the year before, and he still had the nerve to nickname himself Domin Ayton. Get it? Yes, he can be had if the Lakers were on hallucinogens. But all of this brings to mind what is going on with the Lakers in general. If I were to guess, I think the most valuable parts of the Laker roster is simply curious about what the new ownership is going to bring. Remember, of course, the Lakers have been sold recently or will be made official to sale for $10 billion. It makes sense to me about why Finney-Smith would opt out. He doesn't know what the new guys want yet. Why Austin Reeves turned down a max extension. They are very aware that there's a strict salary cap, but it's possible that they want to see the changes that should be coming. For example, why would you sign a contract with Rob Pelinka if he could get fired? Why would you stay under Coach J.J. Redick if he could get fired? You don't know. So why commit yourself long term? And by the way, if the Dodgers look at paying players differently, would the new ownership Lakers have a different way of divvying up the money under the salary cap? These are all questions that these players would like to have answered first. Also with the Lakers, man, the scribes just can't help themselves. LeBron James opted to return to the Lakers yesterday, and all they could write about was, what about 2026? That was what I read on CBSSports.com. Then on FoxSports.com, LeBron James issues a warning to the Lakers. Outkick, quote, LeBron doesn't take pay cut, immediately trashes Lakers roster. He did no such thing. Let's get back to the facts. He did no such thing. And then, of course, people on social media claimed, oh, sure, he took the bag, but behind the scenes, he's requesting a trade. So let's take a moment and tether ourselves back to reality, please. Reality. The Lakers aren't trading James. He doesn't want to be traded. And according to ESPN this morning, there isn't really a trade market for the guy either. Nobody is going to trade for James with value that the Lakers would want to take back. Because this fictional other team, A, would have to have $53 million in tradable contracts and other assets the Lakers would want. 2, they would have to have an open championship window. 3, This fictional team has to know that James is an injury-prone middle-aged man now. And D, they got to be willing to take Bronny in the trade. That is a hell of an ask. Who is that fictional team? Social media? Who is that fictional team? Outkick? Huh? Care to fill that in? An ESPN reporter said this morning, quote, I talked to numerous teams yesterday and asked the same question. Would you basically give up the farm? You'd have to give up 4 or 5 players to get LeBron James for 1 year, and the unanimous answer was no, they wouldn't, unquote. Meanwhile, James's family has absolutely settled and is comfortable in LA. They love the lifestyle, they love the financial connections. But hey guys, clickbait porn about the Lakers. Am I right? And by the way, I have one other point to make. Of course, LeBron James is keeping an eye on the roster. But do you know why the Lakers want to build a better roster? It's not for LeBron. It's for Luka Doncic. So as you can tell, plenty of NBA news to talk about. Let me know what you think in the comments thread. ESPN also reported this morning that instead of returning to the Rams, or perhaps the Chargers, Miami has traded 3-time All-Pro defensive back Jalen Ramsey to Pittsburgh in exchange for 3-time All-Pro safety Minka Fitzpatrick. I realize the Rams have the reputation for quote-unquote effing their picks. They did before when they got Ramsey the first time. They were rewarded with a Super Bowl. Here's the thing. All things being equal, it's probably the right call not to go crazy to get Jalen Ramsey. There's a lot of reasons. One, the Rams gave the Super Bowl champion Eagles all they could handle in the playoffs. More so than the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. So you can see the Rams thinking that they don't have to kill themselves or break up their stockpile of future picks right now. Second reason, if you think the Rams are a player away from a dynasty, you're right. But I think that dynasty doesn't involve a 30-year-old defensive back. I think that dynasty involves the quarterback of the future. How many more years can Matthew Stafford go? I still believe that the Rams, with their multiple first-round picks next year, can combine them, move up to the top of the draft, and get whoever the heck they want to eventually replace Stafford. And then, by the way, the obvious reason they didn't go after Ramsey. The numbers against the cap simply don't compute. Ramsey is making $25 million this year alone, and that's going to increase. The Sparks did the right thing. They retired Candace Parker's jersey. She's the third player with her number retired by the former glamour franchise of the WNBA, which has since turned into an overflowing cauldron of Yas Queen dysfunction. Parker is widely regarded as one of the best women to ever play basketball. She spent 13 seasons with the Sparks, and she's won multiple WNBA titles. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Are you a Clippers fan that's happy that James Harden is returning? Or did you just want to blow the thing up? For that matter, there is so much in play with the Lakers. What do you think is going to happen? If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Cam Cortel Queso production. Take care.